Have you ever wished you could really dive deep into complex topics without getting totally lost, in all the little details?
Yeah, like you just want the core insights
Exactly.
without wading through a mountain of information.
That's what we're doing today. We're taking a close look at the EON Exploratory Simulator.
It's this super interesting XR tool.
Yeah, XR extended reality.
Right.
It's made for immersive learning.
And it uses these really cool mission-based scenarios.
Okay, so our mission today is to break down this EON Exploratory Simulator.
We'll figure out how it works.
Exactly. What are the key takeaways here?
What's the big deal?
Yeah, and we'll be digging into the EON Reality white paper for this one.
Lots of good stuff in there.
So, we always talk about making learning more engaging, right?
Yep.
Like, how do we actually make it fun and interesting?
Right, because traditional educational simulations,
So often they just kind of fall flat.
yeah, they're passive.
You're just watching.
You're not really doing anything.
Exactly. You're not actively involved. But this EON Exploratory Simulator,
It sounds completely different.
it's all about active participation,
You're thrown right into these captivating narratives.
where your choices actually matter.
And that's what really grabbed my attention when I first read about it.
Yeah, me too. It's like they've taken the idea of user engagement.
And just cranked it up to 11.
Like, remember that example they gave about the lost space probe
Oh, yeah.
that was in the solar system exploration mission, right?
Yeah, you get to be a space navigator.
It's so
And your
virtual.
job is to find this missing probe.
But you're not just reading about it.
No, you're using actual planetary data.
You have to analyze it.
Like figuring out which planet has the most moons.
Or which one's the largest.
To even start your search.
That's amazing.
It turns memorizing facts into a real problem-solving challenge.
Yeah, it's like gamifying learning in a way.
Exactly. And it's not just about being in the scenario.
Right.
The simulator also emphasizes active exploration,
It's that whole learning by doing thing.
taken to a whole new level.
And they have this interactive avatar that guides you.
Yeah, it's like having a personal tutor right there with you.
So you're not just clicking through slides,
You're moving around these virtual environments,
uncovering clues,
solving puzzles.
and your decisions actually change the course of the mission.
That hands-on approach is so powerful.
It really helps solidify your understanding.
I mean, think about it.
Like, how many times have you struggled to understand a concept?
Just by reading about it,
But if you could actually experience it,
interact with it.
it would make so much more sense.
That's where the EON Exploratory Simulator shines.
It takes these abstract theories and makes them real.
It puts them into context.
These all sorts of different fields, too.
Like space exploration,
Cellular biology,
forensic science.
you name it.
They've got a scenario for it.
Okay, so we've talked about engagement and active exploration.
What else makes the simulator stand out?
Well, they also talk about adaptive feedback.
This is huge.
It's not just a right or wrong answer.
You get hints and responses that are tailored to what you're doing.
It's like having a personalized guide right by your side.
It reinforces learning as it happens.
If you make a mistake,
You don't just get a big red X.
you get a helpful hint that points you in the right direction.
It builds your confidence.
And it makes sure you're actually understanding the concepts.
It's really clever how they've designed it.
Okay, so we've got the why.
The benefits.
Now let's dive into the how.
How does this thing actually work?
They break each mission down into 4 key stages.
Can you walk us through those?
Yeah. So first up, you've got the mission briefing.
This sets the scene.
You get all the background
So
information.
your objectives.
Your objective.
Your role.
It's like getting prepped for a big adventure.
Exactly. Then you move into interactive discovery.
This is where you really get your hands dirty.
You're exploring the virtual environment,
Looking for clues,
examining data.
maybe even running experiments.
It's all about solving the problem at the heart of the mission.
And remember that interactive avatar we talked about?
Yeah.
It pops up here to give you guidance and ask questions.
It's like your guide on this virtual journey.
Next up is adaptive guidance.
This is where the personalized feedback comes in.
The simulator is constantly tracking your progress.
And if you get stuck,
It gives you just the right amount of help to get you back on track.
without just giving you the answer.
It's all about keeping you challenged and engaged.
And finally, you reach the final resolution.
This is where you put all the pieces together
You take everything you've learned.
and use it to solve the initial scenario.
It's a real sense of accomplishment.
It's like you've actually achieved something.
It reinforces those key takeaways.
Okay, so enough theory.
Let's see this thing in action.
Let's revisit some of those mission scenarios.
Sounds good.
We talked about the solar system exploration one earlier.
The lost space probe.
What would you actually be doing as the space navigator?
Well, remember, you're trying to find this missing probe,
Hmm.
and the white paper gives us this great example.
Oh, yeah?
The avatar asks you to identify the planet with the most moons.
So you have to dive into the astronomical data,
If you guess Saturn.
which is a pretty good guess.
It is.
The avatar gives you a hint,
It reminds you to think about the largest planet.
which leads you to Jupiter.
Exactly.
So you're not just memorizing facts
You're applying them.
in a meaningful way.
It's practical astronomy.
Okay, let's switch gears to cellular biology.
Viral defense protocol.
That one sounds intense.
It is. You're a cellular defense specialist.
And your goal is to figure out how a virus is attacking a cell.
So you can develop a treatment.
The dialogue shows how you have to identify the organelle that the virus is targeting.
If you say mitochondria,
The avatar gives you a clue.
it tells you the organelle contains DNA.
So you realize it must be the nucleus.
That's right.
It makes those complex biological processes so much more concrete.
You're not just reading about them.
You're seeing them in action.
It's like you're a tiny little scientist inside the cell.
Okay, last one. Industrial sabotage investigation.
Chemical reactions.
You're a chemical forensics expert.
And you're investigating a potential sabotage,
You have to analyze the reaction's temperature profile.
which is a fancy way of saying you're looking at how the temperature changes over time,
The dialogue shows that the reaction is supposed to be exothermic,
which means it releases heat.
but the temperature is actually going down.
If you misinterpret this as exothermic,
The avatar steps in again,
it prompts you to look closely at the data.
and you realize it must be endothermic,
It's absorbing heat.
which means something's definitely wrong.
It's a classic case of using chemistry to solve a real-world problem.
I love how these examples show the different stages of the mission in action.
Yeah, you see the briefing, the exploration, the guidance, the resolution.
It all comes together so seamlessly.
And they mention other use cases too.
Like structural analysis after an earthquake,
Responding to a medical emergency.
even crime scene investigation.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
And across all these scenarios,
The benefits are clear.
increased engagement,
Deeper comprehension.
better retention.
The EON Exploratory Simulator really does deliver.
So it's not just about making learning fun.
Although that's a big plus.
It's about making it more effective
It's about giving you the skills and knowledge you need.
to succeed in the real world.
Think about it.
If you could learn anything,
Through these immersive simulations.
what would you choose? What areas of your life could benefit from this kind of active problem-solving approach?
It's something to consider.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the EON Exploratory Simulator.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring.